Imagine the impact of over 1,000 kilometers of high-speed data gathering. That's what Lewis Hamilton achieved in his Ferrari tests, completing a staggering 220 laps. But in F1, it's not just about racking up miles. Teams analyze every microsecond and tire wear pattern. We're going to show you what really matters in these tests. How do teams interpret all this data? Why doesn't lap count alone tell the full story? You'll learn the secrets behind a driver's progress and the hidden indicators that separate the good from the great. Get ready to see F1 testing through the eyes of the experts. Everyone was waiting to see what the 7-time world champion could do in that iconic prancing horse. But then, bam, turn 12 comes around, and suddenly, everything grinds to a halt. Hamilton's off the track, and the car's damaged. It's the kind of moment that makes your heart skip a beat. Crashes during testing aren't as rare as you might think. They're part of the game when you're pushing these incredible machines to their absolute limits. At turn 12, the high-speed corner puts massive load on the car's aerodynamic elements, testing their limits. It's all about finding that edge, and sometimes you go a little bit over. That's how you learn. That's how you get better. Hamilton's reaction? Cool as ever. He's been in this game for a long time, and he knows that setbacks are just part of the journey. He didn't let it get to him. Instead, he used it as a chance to learn more about the car. That's the kind of mindset that makes champions. And Ferrari, they were on it like a shot. The mechanics had that car patched up and back on track in no time. This crash isn't a disaster. It's a golden opportunity. Hamilton and Ferrari now have real-world data on how the car behaves at the limit. They know where the weak points are, where they can improve. That's invaluable information you just can't get from simulations or conservative running. But it's not just about the car. It's about the relationship between Hamilton and his new team. How do they react under pressure? How do they communicate when things go wrong? This crash is bringing them closer together, forging that crucial bond for success in Formula One. Hamilton's been here before. He's switched teams. He's adapted to new cars. He knows these early hiccups are just part of the process. It's all about how you bounce back. And bounce back he did. Once they got the car sorted, Hamilton was right back out there, laying down some seriously impressive lap times. That's the thing about testing. It's not about being the fastest right out of the gate. It's about learning, adapting, and improving. Hamilton and Ferrari are doing just that. They're taking every challenge, every setback, and turning it into an opportunity to get better. Remember when Fernando Alonso first jumped into that McLaren back in 2015? He had a pretty nasty shunt too. It just goes to show that even the best drivers can have moments like these when they're pushing the limits of a new car. Everyone's talking about Hamilton's lap times compared to Leclerc's. But in testing, being fast isn't the goal. It's like a laboratory experiment on wheels. These champions are gathering data, not chasing speed records. Look at the timesheets and you might think, is Hamilton losing his touch? That's not the real story. Testing is about learning the car, figuring out what works, and collecting information. It's like a massive science project with million-dollar race cars. During testing, teams experiment with different fuel loads, tire compounds, and run plans. Hamilton might be out there with a full tank, testing how the car handles when it's heavy. Leclerc could be on a low-fuel run with soft tires, which would naturally be faster. It's all part of the experiment. Tire construction is crucial for the future of Formula One. Mario Isola, the big boss at Pirelli Motorsport, called the test very useful because it helped them compare different tire constructions for next season. What was Hamilton focusing on? He was probably giving feedback on how the car feels. Is it stable in the corners? How's the traction coming out of turns? Does it feel balanced? This information is gold for the engineers back at the factory. This isn't Hamilton's first time switching teams. When he joined Mercedes, his early tests showed a similar pattern. He didn't set the world on fire right away. Instead, he took time to adapt to the car's quirks and characteristics. 7 world championships later, we know how that turned out. The 2026 regulations are going to shake things up big time. They're bringing in narrower tires, 25 millimeters less on the front and 30 millimeters less on the rear. That's going to change how these cars handle in a major way. Forget the lap times for a second. There's a hidden battle going on behind the scenes, and it's all about adapting to a new machine. Can Hamilton's experience overcome the Ferrari learning curve? Let's break it down. Hamilton's clocked 220 laps in his new Ferrari. In Formula One, where every millisecond matters, that's just the beginning. These drivers are learning a whole new language, the language of their machine. For Hamilton, it's not just about getting comfortable in a new seat. He's rewiring his brain to work with Ferrari's unique systems. The way the power comes on, how the car responds to his inputs, it's all new. David Coulthard, a former F1 driver, puts it perfectly. He has to get used to the control systems in that Ferrari, the power delivery, any small off you can call a crash. It's like trying to write with your other hand. You know how to do it, but it just feels off. That little off-track moment Hamilton had during testing. All part of the process. It's like when you're learning to ride a bike. A few scrapes are part of the deal. But how long will it take Hamilton to really sync up with his new ride? Some experts think it could be 2 or 3 races before he's fully dialed in. That's a lot of pressure, especially when you're racing against guys who've been with their teams for years. But Hamilton's not just any driver. He's got years of experience, like a mental library of how F1 cars behave. Still, the Ferrari is a whole different beast. The power unit, the aerodynamics, the handling, it's all new territory. Hamilton's not just relying on track time to get up to speed. He's putting in the hours off the track too. Simulator work, engineering meetings, all that behind-the-scenes stuff we don't see. And there's another challenge on the horizon. In 2026, new regulations are going to shake things up. Narrower tires, changes to the car design, it's like the whole game is changing. So Hamilton's not just learning the Ferrari of today, he's got to be ready for the Ferrari of tomorrow too. It's a continuous learning process, from the test track to the simulator to the drawing board. This transition is more than just changing teams. It's about adapting to a completely different racing philosophy. Ferrari's approach to car design, their racing strategy, even the way they communicate during a race, it's all new for Hamilton. But that's what makes Formula One so exciting. Let's talk about something that's got everyone buzzing. Ferrari's been working on their new car, and it's building on all the challenges they faced with the SF23 and SF24. But this isn't just another step forward. Fred Vasseur, the big boss at Ferrari, dropped a bombshell about the SF25. He said it's going to be so new, it'll have less than 1% of parts in common with the 2024 car. Can you believe that? It's like they're starting from scratch. Vasseur's pretty confident about this new project. He said, if it will be competitive, we'll find out in Bahrain. Sometimes you don't realize you're taking risks until afterward. The car will be completely new. I think we'll have less than 1% of the parts in common with the 2024 car. That's a big gamble, right? But maybe that's what Ferrari needs to get back on top. Ferrari's focusing on 3 main things with this new car: suspension, aerodynamics, and the power unit. These are super important because of the new rules coming in 2026. It's like they're trying to get ahead of the game. Ferrari's not just sitting around waiting for 2026, though. They've been busy working on their 2024 car, too. They're making changes to it to try and guess what the 2026 cars will be like. It's pretty smart when you think about it. They're using what they have now to prepare for the future. Some experts are saying that this SF25 could be Hamilton's golden ticket. You know how he's been chasing that 8th title? Well, this car might be the one to help him get it. It's like a fresh start for both Hamilton and Ferrari. They can build the car around what Hamilton likes, which is pretty cool. Hamilton's not just sitting in the car and driving. He's been giving loads of feedback to the team. He's been testing the SF23 and SF24, telling them what he likes and what he doesn't. All of this is helping Ferrari make the SF25 just right for him. Ferrari's taking a big risk with this complete redesign, while others in the industry are playing it safe with small tweaks. It's a bold move that could pay off big time. The SF25 isn't just going to be different on the inside. They're changing how it looks too. Word is, it's going to have a darker red color and a whole new design. It's like Ferrari saying, we mean business. They want everyone to know they're not messing around. All this talk about the new car is exciting, but we won't know if it's any good until we see it on the track. It's like when you're training for a race. You can do all the prep you want, but you don't know how well you've done until race day. As Hamilton gears up for his Ferrari debut, the excitement is building. It'll take time for him to sync with the prancing horse, but that's normal. David Coulthard notes, he has to get used to the control systems in that Ferrari, the power delivery. It'll take a few races. But Hamilton's a pro at adapting. This move is bigger than just racing. It's about elevating the Ferrari brand. Eddie Jordan explains, I think Ferrari will make and build more road cars and will have a bigger profit center because of Lewis. Bahrain is where we'll see if the hype translates to speed. Will Hamilton hit the ground running, or will he need time to find his groove? Watch for how he handles the car's power delivery and team chemistry. This could be the start of something special, potentially rewriting F1 history.